to Golden Bloated, everybody. And if you are a college football fan, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. That is all we do here every single day. And send gear to represent your team and yourself to Golden Bloated. I guarantee you, if you send it to me, I will put it in my background. Send your gear to P.O. Box 360, Liberty, South Carolina 29657. Oh, man. Let me start this video off by saying, what are you doing, Pac-12 and George Kliavkoff? Apparently, these negotiations with ESPN for a TV deal are not going well. And the reason being, the Pac-12 and George Kliavkoff, for whatever reason, think that they're worth $1.5 billion. You heard me correctly. They think that their TV deal should be worth around $1.5 billion. The Big Ten's deal is not even worth that much. What are you thinking? As a result of that, the gap between what ESPN is offering, and from what I'm hearing, they're holding firm, they're not budging anymore because of the stupidity of the Pac-12. The difference between that and what the Pac-12 wants, 50%. 50%. That is not good. Pac-12, take the deal and stay alive. That's my only advice to you. Take the deal and stay alive. But because they think they're worth much, much more, this deal might not get done. This is bad news for the Pac-12. But it doesn't stop there. There is more bad news for the Pac-12, and that is this. The Big 10 is now considering pursuing Oregon, Washington, Cal, and Stanford. The reason being, the Big 10 is now working to get a media deal with Amazon. So that would allow more revenue that they can spread around. And on top of that, I didn't know this, there's an actual clause in the contract that they have with Fox that allows them to escalate. It's called the escalate clause. Now, I have many sources for this story. The Athletic, the Action Network, 247 Sports, The Voice of Motown, Sideline Sports Network. All these outlets are reporting this. So back to the escalator clause. And the new deal right now is worth $1.2 billion. That's a pretty good deal. But further expansion could push the deal upwards around $10 billion. Now that depends on what brands that they bring in. But basically what that tells you is they could escalate the amount of money that they pay in the Big Ten based on the brands that they bring in. So this could push up to around $5 billion. I don't know, bringing in Washington, Oregon, Cal, and Stanford. Those are pretty good brands. Maybe not good enough to push it up to $10 billion, but $5 billion? I don't know, $6 billion? I don't know. I don't know what their worth is. But there is an escalator clause to push the value up. This is insane. The Pac-12 is in big time trouble because they think they're worth more than what they are. And now we find out that there is an actual escalator clause in the current TV deal with Fox and the Big Ten. So yes, the Big Ten is seriously pursuing Oregon, Washington, Cal, and Stanford. And what that's going to do is that's going to make Colorado, Arizona, Utah, and Arizona State want to bolt from the Pac-12 because that's a sinking ship. The Big 12 right now is preparing invitations for those four schools. Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and Arizona State. They are preparing those invitations. So they are anticipating something. I don't know when the Big Ten would actually invite Cal, Stanford, Oregon, and Washington. I don't know the timeline. Whenever that is, the Big 12 anticipates those other four schools to jump, and they will jump to the Big 12. So invites are being prepared. I guess they'll just leave the date open for whenever the date's going to be. But yeah, they're ready. So the Pac-12 is going to be done. The Big 12 will be a 16-league team consisting of UCF, West Virginia, Cincinnati, Iowa State, Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Houston, Baylor, TCU, Texas Tech, Colorado, BYU, Utah, Arizona, and Arizona State. That's not a bad-looking conference. It's not great for West Virginia because we're adding more teams on the west side. So it's still going to be West Virginia, Cincinnati, and UCF on the east side. But hey, that's still a strong conference, right? Big 10, wow. Check this conference out. Michigan, Michigan State, Indiana, Maryland, Penn State, Rutgers, Ohio State, Purdue, Northwestern, Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Oregon, Washington, Stanford, Cal, USC, and UCLA. That is a heck of a conference. Probably the strongest conference in the nation. Now, having said that, that leads me to believe that in the future, the SEC wouldn't be done. Who would they target? Probably either the Big 12 or the ACC. And here's another thing that I thought of while I was editing, so I had to put this in here. What about Oregon State and Washington State? I actually feel bad for those guys. They're the biggest losers in all this because they're going to end up in the Mountain West. The Big Ten doesn't want them. They probably won't go to the Big 12. So they're going to take a massive pay cut down to the Mountain West. I guess the bright side of all this is they will be competitive in the Mountain West and contend for a Mountain West championship year in and year out. But of course, the bad news is they'll be losing a crap ton of money, being bumped down from a Power 5 conference, the Pac-12, down to a Group of 5 conference, the Mountain West. So I really do feel bad for those two teams and fan bases because it's really out of their control, and they're going to be relegated down to a Group of 5 status, making much less money, and it's not even their choice. George Kliavkoff, if this happens, you should be massively ashamed of yourself. And maybe Oregon State and Washington State would have a lawsuit on their hands and it would be valid in the courts. It sounds like it would be valid. I don't know. Any lawyers out there, you let me know about that. This is a fight for survival for the Big 12 and the ACC, but for the Big 10 and the SEC, it's a fight for dominance. Who's going to win out? We could be whittled down to 4 conferences within the next year, and then beyond that, whittled down to 3 and maybe even 2, the ultimate goal. But right now, stupid arrogance on the part of the Pac-12 might cost them immediately instead of at least lasting 5 more years. Guys, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Y'all let me know in the comments section. I mean, do you think the Pac-12 is actually worth what they think they're worth? And how fast do you think this could go down? It is going to go down, but how quickly is it going to go down? That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.